All right, ladies and gentlemen, KTLA has just released a bombshell report. Headline: Human trafficking sting across California nets 339 arrests, rescue of nearly 50 victims, including teens. Now, 2 years ago, there was a similar story out of KTLA. I believe that story mentioned 500 arrests. So there are massive human trafficking stings happening, massive child sex trafficking stings happening. Anybody that follows the War Room knows that I've had guests on the show that have done a lot to fight child sex trafficking. And I can tell you that behind the scenes, there's a lot of stuff going on that people probably still won't hear about for some years. But a lot of children are being rescued in these stings. Now, getting into the nuts and bolts of this story, I'm going to just go ahead and pretty much read the whole thing for you. And the crew can follow along with me. And then also, if you guys can find the old KTLA story from a few years ago, almost the same story, let's pull that up too. But here's the story from KTLA. Human trafficking sting across California leads to 339 arrests. 14 minors were among the nearly 50 victims of human trafficking during a sting across California that netted 339 arrests, law enforcement officials said Tuesday. Some of the victims found by law enforcement were as young as 13, while other cases involved children as young as 6, Los Angeles County Sheriff's officials said during a news conference alongside other countries. My God, this is California, ladies and gentlemen. 93 human trafficking task forces and teams from various counties were part of the 3-day operation. Among those arrests during Operation Reclaim and Rebuild were pimps who had put victims up for sale and individuals soliciting sex from underage teens, sheriff's officials said. Some of those saved from the underground world of sex trafficking were runaways or victims found through social media and chat sites online. Dramatic stories of rescues and arrests have been shared between law enforcement agencies, LA County Sheriff's Assistant Chief Maria Gutierrez told reporters. Naming a few such cases, Gutierrez said an adult man was seen sexually assaulting a 6-year-old child in multiple videos showing graphic child pornography. A 30-year-old suspect was found and arrested within 24 hours of authorities coming across the clips, she said. The suspect was on felony probation and was wanted for another unrelated crime, the assistant chief said. In another case, a 17-year-old girl was lured from a nearby city to Fresno by a man who she met online, Gutierrez said. Believing she was going to have a relationship with him, she also brought her 14-year-old sister to make the move. Upon their arrival, the two teens were forced to work in prostitution under the threat of violence, according to Gutierrez. The man who the older teen had been in contact with was a pimp who then sold the girls to another pimp for $6,000 just days later. In the hours after, law enforcement officials were able to track down both victims and the suspect, officials said. A firearm was found at the suspect's location. The two teens were connected with victim-centered services and taken home. Meanwhile, in Contra Costa County, a 54-year-old man was taken into custody after allegedly sending photos of $100 bills to a 15-year-old boy he was trying to groom and entice into meeting him at a park for sex, Gutierrez said. The teen was actually an undercover decoy who was one of the officers who later arrested the man when he arrived at the park. Gutierrez described the suspect in that case as a dangerous predator who had already been convicted of lewd content offenses in 2003. Law enforcement officials came across another potentially dangerous suspect after an online decoy was used to set up a meeting for sex at an Ontario motel room. Upon entering the motel, the suspect was found with a .45 caliber pistol in his pocket and some meth, Gutierrez said. 7 other firearms, including assault weapons and handguns, were found inside his vehicle. Officials said various tools are used in tracking down victims and suspects in the statewide sex trade, including bots who send texts to those soliciting sex. The 3-day statewide sting took place during January, and it's officially recognized by the federal government as National Slavery and Human Trafficking Prevention Month. Some of the advocacy groups who work with victims include Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking and Saving Innocence. The National Human Trafficking Hotline estimates that at least 760 cases were reported in the state of California in 2018. Nationwide, 6,244 cases of sex trafficking were reported in 2017, according to the hotline. Standing alongside other human trafficking investigators from across the state, Gutierrez said authorities have a message for those working to sell, abuse, and exploit victims. Do not do business in Los Angeles County or the state of California, because we will find you and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law, she said. The 24-hour national hotline for victims of human trafficking is 888-373-7888. So, again, that story is out of KTLA. Headline, human trafficking sting across California nets 339 arrests. Rescue of nearly 50 victims, including teens. To which I beg the question, where is Adam Schiff? Where is Eric Swalwell? Where is Ted Lieu? Where is Kamala Harris? Where are all of these great congressmen and women from California speaking out against child sex trafficking and child sex abuse? I haven't seen a single statement. Now, what does that tell you about the political leadership in California? Have you heard anything from Gavin Newsom? So you'd think politicians would be banding together to address this clear and present danger to children in California, but you don't hear anything, do you? Total silence from Adam Schiff. Total silence from Eric Swalwell, and I just have to wonder why. And this is not the first time. 2 years ago, KTLA ran a very similar story, a very similar headline, and I believe the number was 500 arrests when they ran the other story. Now, I don't know if the crew found that or not. They're probably banning it from any search engines right now. But folks, this is a serious issue. What do you think happens to all the missing children? They don't just disappear into thin air. What do you think happened to Maddie McCann? So it just begs the question, where are the politicians speaking out against the human trafficking in California? Yes, there is the other story. Over 500 arrests made in a human trafficking crackdown in California. That was from a year ago today. Wow. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And again, I beg the question, why the silence from Adam Schiff? Why the silence from Eric Swalwell? Why the silence from the politicians in California on rampant child sex trafficking in their state?
Let's go to Wild Man in Illinois. Thanks for holding, and about to say Happy New Year. Go ahead.
Alex, yeah, going into 2019, what Trump's got to do to save America, he's got to declassify FISA, expose the corruption, arrest the traitors, and arrest the pedophiles. That's how he saves America. My opinion, an over-the-road trucker, hardworking, honest man, that's what I believe.
I agree. Victory or death. He's now, looks like he's cleaning house. He's getting rid of all the double agents. And the word is Trump is going to go into battle now. We're talking he's going to strike back against the censorship. He's going to strike back against the pedophile rings. It's already begun. He's going to strike back against the deep state. He's going to strike back against all the criminal activity of Comey and Mueller being Russian operatives. So just get ready.
Another note, I've spent over $3,000 in your store this year. I'm a loyal supporter, and thanks for great products.
Brother, let me tell you something. I want to thank you. If folks like you didn't stand with us against the incredible Hillary Clinton and Soros attacks, which they admit they're running, we would not be here now. They're taking Michael Savage off the air. They're taking everybody. They took Franklin Graham off Facebook. They need to get us all off the air before they make their move on Trump. That's why this is a war. and you supporting us is incredible. Which products do you like the best?
Man, I use the bodies. I got so many of the t-shirts that ain't even funny. I got your stickers posted on my hard hat, on my GPS, my truck. I tell truckers about you over the CB airways all across the country. I spread the word about you. I wear your clothes, your hats, your shirts, you name it. Multitude of products.
How much love do you get versus hate do you get?
You know, it's people skeptical, but like it's probably about 50-50 or 60-40 your way. It's just so many people got their head in the sand out here.